This is the Earth Science Classroom. Welcome back to the channel. This is part 5 of the rock cycle playlist, where I go through each part of the rock cycle and explain the processes and the physical and chemical and state of matter changes. And this one is all about metamorphism and the process right here, this arrow right here, of taking sedimentary rock and transforming it into metamorphic rock. Alright, so we got some cool pictures of some different metamorphic rocks and their faces and the different structural geology that comes with metamorphic rock. And also looking at the Earth's interior. So this diagram right here, this picture right here, is just showing you the basic layers, or the chemical layers of crust, mantle, and core. The previous part 4 video discusses sedimentary rock and the process of diagenesis. Now, diagenesis is the step-by-step guide to forming a sedimentary rock from sediments. Now, diagenesis is an important part to discuss because it is the prelude, or the kind of like introduction to metamorphism. Because diagenesis, this is obviously through burial and compaction, and as that sediment's laid down in horizontal layers, usually in some sort of depositional environment, what's going to happen is you're going to add some temperature and some pressure naturally as it goes into the ground at a certain depth, and the pressure comes from overburden and gravity. So gravity plus overburden over OB. There we go. You get this combined pressure, which is called lithostatic pressure, and the temperature, and that's going to start metamorphism. Again, the process of creating a metamorphic rock is called metamorphism, and this means to change shape, and meta means kind of like after. So after the fact of the process, it's going to change shape or change form, and that's what morphic means. So the process of doing this is called metamorphism. These rocks come in different types. We have foliated and we have non-foliated, and they're formed in different ways. You need two things really to start metamorphism, which is temperature and pressure. And obviously this occurs at a certain depth under the Earth's surface. Now, how the rocks get there? Well, first they go through diagenesis generally, or some sort of, they are created there like an intrusive igneous rock, like a granite. It's made there, but there's some sort of process that causes what's called subsidence, where that rock is lowered to a deeper depth or greater depth. What you need is conditions over 200 degrees Celsius and the pressure of over 300 kilobars. That's a great deal of pressure, and obviously that temperature is going to allow the rock to be molded and change shape, and mostly the minerals will be aligned differently. So they're going to change their alignment, change their structure, and change the patterns in the rock. So you need to have compaction over burden, and this really starts at a certain depth of around 10 kilometers, and it can go down as deep as 40 or further, but any deeper you're going to get melting, partial melting, due to the temperature that's going to be over around 650 degrees Celsius, where some minerals are going to melt. The lithostatic pressure, as mentioned earlier, okay, and the temperature, at each stage, each depth, there's a certain temperature and a certain pressure, and this creates certain conditions where certain minerals called index minerals exist, and certain metamorphic rocks will form, and these are called grades. So metamorphic grades are the intensity going from low to intermediate to high, and this would dictate the certain minerals, the index minerals. Call them index because they're usually found in one rock, so we can use them for ID in the rock. Also, you have specific rocks or metamorphic rocks that form there. So for example, you'll start out with, let's say, a mudstone, right, which is sedimentary. It might be compressed into shale. That shale will go further into, from diagenesis into metamorphism, and that will turn into slate, which we use for roofs. And then the slate will continue as it goes deeper and deeper different grades, now into intermediate, and it'll be turned into phyllite or phyllite. And then that phyllite or phyllite will turn to schist, and that will turn to gneiss. And eventually it will turn to migmatite based on how pressurized the environment is in terms of the high grade metamorphism. So you have these stages or these different developments of the metamorphic rock as you're going down deeper into the ground. So this will eventually create different kinds of metamorphic rock at various depths in the Earth's surface, usually crust and lithosphere, and possibly maybe the upper asthenosphere, but that's where the magma is going to start to form. And this continues the journey on the rock cycle. This is the Earth Science Classroom. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the content. Check out more videos on our channel, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you again.